Everyone, this is Shreya Vaidya. I'm an individual financial planner. On this occasion of Women's Day, I present you Womoneya. Womoneya is nothing but making financially independent women. We want that each and every woman should be financially independent and they should take care of their money. I'm happy that Debashri is joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, she is, let me tell you that she is a lifestyle blogger. She also runs her own YouTube channel and she's here to do the financial planning. She is thinking about financial planning at this age. So tell me, Debashri, what exactly you do? How was your journey? How it has started?
I am a beauty and a lifestyle YouTuber and I've been doing this for almost 2.5, 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I began this as a passion. It was almost like a hobby. I never knew that I would earn money.
Okay.
And right now, this is my primary source of income.
Great.
So I make videos on YouTube. I also have my social media platforms where I create content.
Okay.
And yeah, I was very passionate about it because I grew up watching YouTubers, you know, when I was in college. So that's one of the things that I wanted to do. I've worked in corporates. I was in a pharmaceutical company before, and then I worked with a startup. So that's where I got more of the social media exposure. And then I quit that 1.5, 2 years ago. And right now I'm doing this full time.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, it is really very interesting to know, you know, the woman like you at this age, so much independent, and it's, you know, entrepreneurship skills you already have and you have done it very successfully. So let's, you know, talk about the language which you understand the most. You talk about foundations and makeup and all, right? So tell me, Debashri, the foundation which will suit you, can that suit me?
No, that's not going to work.
Yeah. In the same way, what your needs are, what your financial needs are, probably that not, you know, the financial needs of mine.
Right.
What product will suit you probably will not suit me. So the first step is we need to understand that what your needs are, what your financial needs are. So how we'll be doing it? Let's put your financial goal in 2 categories, like short term and long term. Short term are the goals, for example, if you want to buy anything for next 3 years, that we consider as a short term goal. And anything you want to plan for next 10 or 15 years, that we consider as a long term. So can you tell me what are your short term and long term goals are?
So because like I said, I run this channel, for me creating content is very important, and for that I always have to update like the latest equipments, or if there is something that I want to like, you know, make it better with. So for me, in the next 3 years, like you said, for the short term, would be to improve my gear. So they are somewhere in the price of 1.8 to 2 lakhs and beyond. So each lens that you buy or each light that you buy, they are pretty expensive. So that's my short term goal. And long term, eventually I would love to have a house of my own.
Great.
Yeah, and I would love to support my parents in all of the way that they have for me.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I would love to buy a house for them. So that's my long term goal.
Great, wonderful. There are very few people, you know, where they actually bring down their short term and long term goals that much clearly with actually the amount, you know. You also aware that how much amount you need. It's rare, but it is extremely important when it comes to financial planning. Because see what happens, generally with your short-term goals, there are different type of products which are suitable for the short-term goals, and there are different type of products which are suitable for the long-term goals. Like for the short-term goals, generally debt instruments are more suitable, and for the long-term goal, equity instruments are more suitable. And since you're already young, it is most important that almost 70% of your income you should put in the equity instruments.
Which is for the long-term goals?
Perfect, which is for the long-term goal. But yes, before directly jumping into what will suit you, many things I need to understand. I need to ask you, you know, few questions like your age, your income, your expenses, because after your income and expenses, I will figure it out that what is your investable surplus is. So how much you can invest, maybe per month or lump sum, etc. Also, I need to understand that what's your existing investments are.
Right.
Because that is, yeah, that will, you know, I will understand that how much CAGR they are giving and etc. etc.
Right.
And we have already discussed about your goals. So there are three things, like to understand your income expenditure, understand your existing investments, and the third and the most important thing is managing your goals.
Right.
Yeah. So with this is typically a financial planning process. With this type of process, we can easily achieve whatever your goals are.
So for me, this was always a very intimidating process. You know, maybe it was the fear of unknown, and I usually leave this to my brother or my dad, who usually does this. And this is why I am so happy to be doing this video on Women's Day, because as women, we need to be very independent. We need to understand what we need to do. And I think whatever you said just put in a lot of clarity. And I'm glad, like at this age, and once I have felt secure myself, and that I have got the idea to, you know, finally figure it out, at least have the first step. And like the way you said how the goals need to be clear, I didn't even know that already existed in my head.
Yeah, that's what. Actually, this is what generally, you know, women, we fail to understand. We think that this is not my cup of tea, or probably, you know, I cannot do it. Let my husband, you know, take care of it, etc. etc. But I'm really happy at this age, you are actually thinking, and the vision is so clear that where I want to go, how I'll be going. And not just that, you're also, you know, willing to take that help, willing to take that professional advice that yes, my vision is clear, but how I'll be going is with the professional help. So that is extremely important. And I'm sure, you know, with such kind of an attitude and with such kind of step which you have taken already, because this is very rare that at this age people take this step, you know, of understanding and the willingness of doing the financial planning with right people and with, you know, right process. That is also very important.
So now that you mentioned like debt and equity, as far as my knowledge, is debt what I think it is? Is it all the savings that I've done? Say I have like fixed deposits, I have my savings account, and I've also like invested in PPF, and that's the only thing that I've done. So is that what it is?
Whatever you have mentioned are the debt instruments, and also there are debt mutual funds.
Mutual funds, but aren't they like equity?
No, generally this is what is the myth is there, that people consider mutual funds only in equity space, but actually it is not.
For like a long-term goal, I would think of mutual fund as something that I would, if I had to have a long-term, because that's what I thought was equity and then debt.
Yeah, actually you're right. The equity mutual funds are there for the long term. As I've already said, that for your long-term goals, you have to be there in the equity instruments. But yeah, you also need to understand the debt mutual funds, because there are extremely important to understand at least what is debt mutual fund. Now I'll put it in that way, that you just said that you have already invested in your saving bank account.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So like saving bank account, there are mutual funds called in a liquid mutual funds.
What are those?
Yeah. So they are typically kind of a saving bank account instruments, like the money which you want to save for a very shorter time, like saving bank account you can withdraw at any given point of time. Similarly, this liquid mutual funds are very liquid in nature. Okay. So if you want to have any substitute for the saving bank account, liquid mutual funds are the best.
Really?
Yeah. Secondly, you mentioned that you have already you know, invested in fixed deposits.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So for the fixed deposit like investments, technically, I mean, typically you must have invested for 2 or 3 years for the fixed deposit.
2 years.
Yeah. So for if there is a horizon of 2 or 3 years, there are debt mutual funds. There are short-term debt mutual funds. There are long-term debt mutual funds.
This is news to me.
Yeah, but they are really very good, and you must understand what are the mutual funds as in whole, because there are different categories of the mutual funds. Okay, there are debt category also. There are many categories like arbitrage. There are short-term debt. There are long-term debt. There are balance fund. There are hybrid funds. There are equity saving and equity mutual funds, and etc. etc. Okay, but of course you don't have to understand and you know do the
right?
So you don't have to do it. You only have to understand that what your goals are. Okay, it is my duty, that it's an advisor's call, that how, you know, we will just understand your goals, the short term and the long term, and accordingly we will give you the instrument which will suitable to cater to those particular goals.
That you've explained debt to me. What happens in equity?
Yeah, understanding equity also is very important. In equity also, like that, there are many types. Like there are large caps, there are small caps, there are multi caps, there are mid caps. Also there are hybrid funds. See, hybrid funds are the funds which comes in debt as well as in equity. Okay. So they are equity oriented hybrid funds. So these are the category of the funds you can invest in. But yeah, as you have mentioned that entire your money you have put it in all 2-3 instruments which you have mentioned. So yeah, this is actually not the good sign.
That's
Generally,
why I have you here today.
yeah. Generally, you should not put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, and that is the biggest mistake generally people do. They don't bifurcate their things in 2 types. Generally, it's a simple way to do it. You're all short-term goals. Okay, you want to buy your instruments for XYZ worth you said. So all your short-term goals will be taken care by your debt instruments.
Because
and all
it's easy for me to take out
perfect
the money that way.
and the debt instruments are fixed.
Right.
They are not volatile. They don't link to the stock markets. Okay. So in the shorter run, debt always works better. Okay. But in the longer run, if you want to put your entire money in the longer run at the lower rate of interest, it actually doesn't make any sense. Like your long-term goal is you want to buy a house. Right? So you have to have equity instruments in your kitty. So that's the reason long-term will taken care by equity instruments. I'll just give you one good example so you can actually correlate. Now tell me, if you want to travel say 1, 2 or 5 kilometers, what all options you have?
Like I could take a public transport, like a bus or a train, or I could drive down myself.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But tell me, if you want to go to US and if you're sitting in the bus, what will happen?
I will reach.
Yeah.
Like
so this is exactly is happening if you are sitting in a bus-like instrument, which are the debt instruments, but you want to go a long way.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I don't know whether you'll reach that.
Yeah, I might not even reach.
Yeah. So that is the risk you carry.
There's no way also for me to go.
That's what. So that is a risk you carry if you sit in a wrong instrument for the wrong goal.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So that's the reason it has to be very clear where you want to go, how much you need to achieve that particular goal, and with the right instrument, whether you are sitting in the right instrument, only that particular thing will take you there. Otherwise...
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you so much. This has been so revolutionary for me. And since... This is why I think this video has been so special to me, especially on Women's Day. I decided to take care of my money.
Wow.
Yeah, and I want you guys to take care of your money. It's very important, and I'm sure my dad watching this is going to be so proud of me. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, dear.
I'm sure like all of you guys watching this was pretty helpful. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below. And yeah, that's it from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.